Hello again, Roy.RealEstate here with Coldwell Banker Legacy in San Angelo. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about promulgated contracts. Promulgated is a big fancy high dollar term to say made public. So the way all of it works, we have a Texas Real Estate Commission, and that Real Estate Commission basically oversees the real estate industry in the state of Texas. So one of their functions then is coming up with forms. So we have a contract form, for example. So if you a 1 to 4 family residential contract. And so the Texas Real Estate Commission comes up with this form in association with some different people. You know, there's members of the commission, there's employees of the commission, and then there's some agents and brokers and stuff that are on a committee that help work out these. And so when they have a lawsuit or something because of something in the contract, once that lawsuit goes through the court system, they take a look at the contract and say, hey, we need to change this language just a little or add something or different things like that. And there's a multitude of contracts and different addendums and amendments and stuff like that they do this to. So there's a large variety of them. Now, all of those that the Texas Real Estate Commission does are made public on the Texas Real Estate Commission website. So anyone can use those in a transaction. If you're selling your own home for sale by owner, you can use those contracts in a transaction. And so what it does is it eliminates a lot of the guesswork. You're not going to an attorney and paying them to design a contract for you. You're taking the contract that everybody else uses, that the title companies are familiar with and everything else, and you take that and there's blanks to fill in. So you go through and fill in the blanks and you're done. So the problem is the important part of that is knowing what to put in the blanks. So from those Texas Real Estate Commission forms, then the Texas Association of Realtors actually takes and they tweak a little bit more and they put out their own set of forms that are just slightly different. Sometimes like the seller's disclosure, for example, the Texas Association of Realtors has a good bit more mandatory information on the form that's not on the Texas Real Estate Commission form. So they turn around and then provide it to their members in the state of Texas for use in contracts. And so these go and they're updated every few years the ones that are used the most common one is the 1 to 4 family residential contract. And it gets updated typically every couple of years because there's enough changes both in the legislative session. There may be some laws that change as well as court cases and stuff. So it's like, wait, we need to address this. We need to address this. And so these things are put into the form. And it makes things a whole lot simpler for everybody. And again, I said the important part of the whole process is knowing what to put in all those forms. So there's some that are just check boxes where you have like 3 choices. You pick one of them. There's places where you put in a fill in the blank, whether it's the price, and the price then has the amount that the buyer's paying down, the amount that will be financed, and a total asking price. And then there's other where it has the title company that it's going to go to, and then the title policy. Who's paying for the title policy, the buyer or the seller? Those are check boxes. And then the title company that's going to issue the title policy and how much earnest money is there. So all these are just fill in the blanks as you go through it. But again, it makes it sound like it's real simple, and it is to an extent. But when you're dealing with it on a regular basis, you come to understand the intricacies of all what those check boxes mean and where they're a big deal and where they're not a big deal. And so that's really one of the functions that we perform as real estate agents is to tell you what to put in those boxes or to put it in the boxes for you in most cases and then send it to you to sign so that you're getting the most protection, you're getting what you want in the contract and stuff like that. So, one of just little things that there's a box for the amount that the seller will pay toward the buyer's closing costs. And that's something in a lot of the states not very common, but in San Angelo market, it is very common to see that happen for the seller to pay some of the buyer's closing costs because it lowers the amount the buyer has to bring to the table. In effect, it increases their loan, but it lowers the amount they have to bring to the table at closing day. So it's good for them in a long-term basis. Really, it doesn't. In the end, it doesn't make any difference. But in the short run, it benefits them, and then it rolls it into the mortgage, and so they're paying for it after that. So anyway, that's an overview of what the promulgated forms are. But when we sit down to write a contract, you're ready to make an offer on a house, and I sit down to write the contract, I don't start from scratch. I start with one of those forms and fill in the blanks in the best way, the way you and I have discussed, that meets your needs in the whole process. And we're going to present it to the other side. And then that other side is going to say, oh, wait, we don't like this thing. And sometimes it's price, sometimes it's a closing date. I mean, there's all sorts of variables in there. you know, it's a 10-page long contract, really 8 pages of it that are fairly important information. So 8 pages of stuff, but there's really probably 25-ish boxes, and that's kind of the top of my head, but 25-ish boxes that actually have information, and most of them are fairly standard. They don't matter much of the time, but you can be reassured when you see that contract that it's not something Roy made up, and you didn't have to hire an attorney to do it, but someone made it up, went through it and saw the issues that were occurring and said, okay, well, here's the language we need to put into this contract to protect everyone involved, both the buyer and the seller. And so that's how that process works, what a promulgated contract is and how it benefits you as a buyer or seller, and how in effect you've paid for parts of it through the Texas Real Estate Commission. So got any questions about that? Again, it's just eliminating the guesswork and the risk to you. You don't have to read and understand all 8 pages of that contract. You can be assured that most of it is standard boilerplate, if you will, language that is common to every contract. So it's just the little bit of fill in the blanks and check boxes that make the difference between one contract and another contract. And then both parties have to agree to all those, then you truly have a contract. So anyway, if you have any questions, give me a call. We can talk about it. Roy.RealEstate, 325-268-0775. Thank you.